All right, let's see if I can get this done before I lose my sunlight completely. Welcome back to Living Resonance. I'm Munifa, and today we are exploring the cosmic current of the gene keys and the lunar cycle so you can cultivate your voice, live your genius, and weave your legacy in harmony with the current frequencies. We're currently in the lunar phase of the new moon in Pisces, which is Gene Keys 25 and Gate 25 in human design. We are experiencing the themes of constriction, acceptance, and universal love, the genius of pain. Love over everything, right? So we're going to get into it. We got two viewpoints here. Quantum Human Design, Karen Curry Parker. She's going with the definition of spirit here at 25. And what we all love about Karen Curry Parker is she tells us what to do with this energy, right? She's going to go straight there. And so I've got plenty of input from her perspective. Let's start with a quote. It is a spiritual reorientation that asks you to realign your choices, your actions, your presence in the world with your soul's unique path. And what I've been saying from the beginning of the year is that it's about where are you coming from in the now? Where is the inspired action coming from the truth of who you know yourself to be in any given moment? Because the change is extreme and it's fierce. So if we keep depending on how we used to know ourselves, we can get into trouble, right? So um, there'll be a couple of those. So this is about proclaiming your inherent value in Karen Curry Parker's estimation. And it reconnects you to a frequency of unconditional love, first for yourself, and then as a vessel to share that with the world. And now, this quote I'm pulling because this is very much how I have been feeling off and on, how my clients have been feeling, and sometimes inundated with this feeling. So, almost feeling like it's keeping them from any productive movement. And what I've been saying, especially in our membership, is that this month is really not for production. It really is a review of what we thought we were going to be up to this year. I'm getting that from the understanding of being a Mercury retrograde. I'm getting that from, again, my personal experience with the energy, and then also where I've been hearing from everybody. But it is almost always just kind of what the chart already said, right? Which is that we're in Mercury retrograde. And so it's going to be about reviewing how we think and reviewing how we speak, right? This is very much how we act our being as who we are into the world. So this quote goes, "You may feel untethered from meaning or question whether you truly belong. You may have doubt, disillusionment, or spiritual fatigue that will surface, revealing where you've lost trust in life, in others, or in yourself. But these questions are not signs of failure. They are the doorway, right? And that's what we have to kind of, well, what's available for us to understand and realize in a brand new level is that pain challenge is not against us, it is for us. And it gives us a very clear insight into what's now, what's next. Right. So we don't have to feel as lost if we're willing to sit with things and embrace it. But most people find that challenging. They have a challenge of trusting divine source because it's ephemeral, it's not visible, to trust the connection that we have because it does shift, especially in this day and age as we're changing an age. Then we are also learning how to feel our intuitional downloads, the wisdom, the understanding of spirit, how it feels within us in action as we are day to day, how that feels different in this new energy, in this new way of being, right? So there is that piece. Um, but ultimately, this is a quote directly from Karen Curry Parker. The optimal expression of this new moon is a deep, embodied enlightenment with your higher purpose, rooted in unconditional self-worth and trust in divine support. From this place, you serve the world with clarity and profound spiritual wholeness. So if you're feeling like, where do I get that? You're like, that's not quite available, then just the goal is not necessarily to be perfect ever. It never is. But especially right now, like right now, if you're a hot mess, then welcome to the party. We're all functioning hot mess like. So it's more about how are we allowing ourselves to sense when we aren't on our path as far as the spiritual alignment and opening enough, releasing enough, trusting enough, experiencing a release of pain, of grief, of wounding so thoroughly, so openly that the truth is within it, right? We get to have that spark of truth within it without feeling like we have to hold on to it in order to do all the things that we think we have to get done, right? So in order to not like just completely clam up here, I'm gonna keep coughing to get the little mucus that was to sit on my vocal cords off them without damaging the instrument. Okay, in order to keep my voice in line and still powerful. Okay, so let's see. So we're going to shift over to the gene keys, what we understand from the gene keys perspective. And it's a much broader understanding. And it's actually, hopefully I can keep this short because it's not a big concept. It basically is you're going to accept some stuff. Okay. The shadow of constriction, we'll start there. And the title of the chapter is the myth of the sacred wound, the myth of the sacred wound. I'm not sure what he was trying to get to from with that because either you understand that the wound is part of it, or you understand that there's a sacredness within the wounding, right? I'm a 22 attraction and core wound. So I know all about the suffering, right? I understand that it's part of life very clearly. It's in my body. It's what I'm made of, which is how it helps my people to release and to accept themselves into a new understanding of their wounding. Right. So this part here is what happens if we want to understand, like, how do we even understand when it's happening? Because a lot of us are unfortunately living a pretty perpetual version of this. So we can recognize it when there's a constriction in the breathing. So this is why pretty much all conscious understanding is going to touch upon the breath at some point, because your breath is your first and most clear indicator. How deeply are you breathing? How much is it restricted? How much tension are you holding in the breath? How much are you allowing a full breath in and a full breath out? These are very rudimentary concepts that can tell you at any given point, where do you stand in alignment and energy and flow, right? Which is our goal here on the channels. We're about living the most inflow life as possible. We're all humans, so it's not going to be perfect, but I think we can get pretty close. I think we can get like 90%. I think we can get there. Okay. That's one of my goals. So in that you can sense in yourself when you've ever had some trouble breathing physically, whether that be from being sick or allergies or whatever have you, emotional tightness, right, that causes the emotional response in our nervous system. Just being on edge in a new environment or in the city, right? If you're a country gal. And so these are the things that tell us when we are in challenge and when we're shutting down our heart openness that allows us to tap in to universal knowledge and right action at any given moment. Okay. So that's the first thing to look out to. Um, it's usually a response to the environment and a reaction to discomfort of any kind. Okay. And the urge is, the nature of the urge is to grasp. So even in our spiritual concepts, and that's what I'm seeing a lot of people doing, they're taking things that really should just be about a grander perspective, a greater understanding of how we're connected to truth and the divine. And we're really making it about how am I going to get more done right now? And I'm including myself in that. You're not the only one. It's happening. We're all having that push pull, right? And so what that is taking a divine concept, something that is not meant to be nailed down, and trying to make it a material thing that we can physically hold and physically say, I got this. And then it's the clutching and not wanting to let go of the things that is what's causing our inability to move through, to move with, to feel the power, honestly, of our wounding. Okay. So this is a quote. Well, not no, yeah, here we go. The quote is, if you recoil from the pain, you will live a life of denial and distraction, a half-life, lost in the pale shadowlands of mediocrity. That's rough, right? Because I know for a lot of us, this is the thing. We're thinking like, if I could just fix the problem, if I can make the pain go away, if I can end the woundedness of my trauma, then I can shine. Then I can have energy. Then I can go out into the world. But this is actually saying the exact opposite, right? It's not about that. It's about being aware with that, accepting it, and then moving with the power that breaks through the wound. And I think of that, I have like a visual of that where it comes through the crack, right? It's like the light, the power source that comes through the crack of what we thought was wholeness. But the wholeness includes the wound. That's part of being human, okay? So there's other broadcasts that talk a little bit more about that. But for here, it's just to notice that if we're lusting or wanting to hold on to something, whether that's a person, a memory, a thing, a job, whatever, right? Whatever you're trying to hold on to, then that's the indication that we're living shadow in this experience. So how does this show up around us in our environment? Because we all know that Richard Rudd is always talking the full evolution of a thing. He's talking about our personal experience, talking about our relationships, he's talking about our family experience, he's talking about our societal experience. And here he really highlights the societal, how we represent constriction by keeping things structured is really what's happening through laws, through fences, through passports, that if we don't have these things, they're found to be wrong. We should be able to be conformed or conformed into the space that they put us, whether that's the laws, the fences, or the passports. And anything outside of that is considered wrong, right? Societally. But we know better. We know better. And we are living better, which is about being free in truth and not requiring the material to verify that, right? To give us permission that truth. We really want to live it before we have to grab hold of it, because that's the job. That's the assignment. That's our human assignment right there. So you can also notice with it, if you think of its programming partner, which is seriousness. So this is that piece that is just going to pop up because of the dynamic between these two keys and these two gates, which is that if you are in this shadow of constriction, you're probably also you're way too serious about it. If you're ready to cut somebody for the thing that you think you can hold on to, if you're ready to like all those things, which we're all human. Like I'm not saying that I wouldn't, for certain not things, but people. Right. You hurt my friends, you're gonna see me. You hurt my husband, you're gonna see me, right? And try to take my husband. All right now. So those are the things, right? Like those are the things. But if we're aware, if we're conscious, we're not fixing it, right? We're being aware of that thing, and then we're making the right choice for the moment. So hopefully in the moment, I'll be more universal lovey about it, and you won't have to worry about that thing. But if not, then right action, right? Right action. It may be the right action for that time. You never know. So on the repressive side, is ignorant. That's the label for that repression of this energy. It's the inability to look at your pain. It's what causes stagnation in thought. So it basically makes it stupid. It makes you unable to think on a higher level, right? So they actually are like separating out parts of the brain so that they don't have to feel what they don't want to feel. Um, I'm saying they, but it's a we. It's how we do it, right? So we try to keep that feelingness of pain away by pretending it's not there. And as a result, we lose areas of our energy, energies of our thought process and consciousness. Okay. On the reactive side, it's cold. It's being cold. So it's an unwillingness to look at your own pain. So the first, right, the repressive side was not willingness to feel it. This is a repressed reaction to looking at it. You don't even know you have pain, you know what it is, and you hate it, right? And so, and because of that hate, in order to process, it becomes a reaction to others. So you take your pain out on other people, you make other people hurt because you're hurt, right? So evolutionarily, this is about like if we want to get from when I say evolution, I mean in order for us to see the gift of this possibility, what we can do with this energy when we're in right perspective and aligned to truth in ourselves, is we got to face our wounds to unwind our karmic knots. So we're looking at them, we're living in the truth of them, and then we are sharing according to the power that's within them, right? And the gift, this is called acceptance. And in the chapter, this part is called accepting love. And as Karen Curry Tarka spoke about, it's really starting with self. The ability to love yourself fully will allow yourself to love others, even in that are different than you, right? Not pretty much everybody's different than you, but like in a real way, like people that you have a hard time imagining loving. You love more when you accept the truth of yourself at all the levels, right? So in the beginning, I didn't really believe in that, but now I've had enough of the experience to realize it's so true. Like when we start to like let go of the things that we judge ourselves for or try to keep out of our lives because we think they'll cause a separation or a pain, we think, and the truth, nothing can. And so when we have that perception, we're just keeping out the wholeness of truth, right? The wholeness of life, the wholeness of love, the wholeness of experience. So here, this is the path of love. It's being able to see yourself fully with the wounds, with the problems, and accept yourself fully. I have a quote here. Over time, your acceptance deepens even further until you finally let go of your need to escape the wound altogether. So that is the charge, because a lot of us that are doing a lot of this work, we're like, I want to be unwounded. I want to be healed. I want to, right? We use this terminology. Most of us intellectually know better, but the truth is we're still, a lot of our action is still about fixing it, maybe even plastering over the cracks of our whatever in that wound, right? So as much as possible, just accepting what it is what it be, and then moving forward in your power regardless, right? Feeling you belong everywhere is a result of walking in this energy, not judging others, not feeling like you have to judge others. There's a certain something, right, about you that makes you feel like you're from another world, but you're so deeply grounded. And again, this reminds me a bit of 22 because so much of it is about accepting the things that we don't want, with accepting even the aspects of ourselves that we find cringe and we're not looking to amplify in any way. But some of us, like, there's a lot of cringe. So if we never show up, if we're always trying to avoid that cringe, we'll never show up, right? So just accepting ourselves fully allows us to do the work we're here to do. So instead of, judging with the crowd, so to speak, right? So that's a power. I would love that power. I feel like I'm closer to it than I've ever been, but feeling like I belong everywhere, not quite. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. It's happening. And then the city is a universal love. So it is that feeling. It is that feeling of just fully accepting everything, all that is, in all its wholeness, seeing the reason to love anything and everything. So in this new moon, Pisces, I have a little journaling for you from Karen Curry Parker, who's going to give us something to do. Thank God. If we had to just sit here accepting ourselves, I don't know if we would make it too far. But that is the work of this month, is to sit in the void. I've been trying to say it in little ways and big ways, no matter how wrong you feel things are, to just sit in the confusion, sit, which was the full moon shadow, sit in it and accept it. It's basically it was the same kind of thing. It's just like deal with it. Like this is life. Life includes pain. Life includes nothingness. Life includes this void. And if you truly understand love and you truly understand life, you wouldn't want it without it. If you truly love somebody, you there's flaws that you would not want them without. This is why it takes transcendence to come out of lower form relationships, like abusive relationships, right? It takes a transcendence. You have to uplift yourself out of that dynamic where it looks like love to be hurt by that person, right? So that is the work. And that will reflect in all the things, all the things we care about. Right? It's like resources, money, career, recognition, being seen, heard, understood, and accepted within and of ourselves. Right. All of those things require these transformational experiences. Getting to the questions so that I don't completely lose my light. Here we go. First question. Do I trust source? These are from Karen Curry Parker. Okay. That's the first question. Second question. Do I have a regular practice that connects me to source? Do you? Do you? I'm asking you, bro. Like, yeah, so meditation for me is the voice work, Oman's method for me, um, journaling for me, even going back and through my own notes, even about my business, about my career. These are things that bring me closer to who I am because that's how I built my service, right? So, what is it for you? What is it for you? Do you, a few more questions. So, do I know my life's purpose? Now, again, we're going to want to turn this directly into action, and purpose tends to come from the pain. It comes from the wounding that you have overcome, right? That you're lived through, that you can tell other people how to do it maybe in a shorter, easier, less suffering fashion, right? So, that's where purpose comes from. But remember, we're in a time when that might be rearranging according to the new energies. So do not feel like you have to just jump in there and immediately start working on the purpose. Just sit with it. Be with it within the void because most likely some of us are already getting it, but a lot of us aren't quite clear yet. A lot of us think we're clear, we're not quite there yet. So just sit with it a little bit longer. We're going to be in Mercury retrograde to the 20th. You can do this. You can do this. You can wait it out at least until we get into the shadow of the other side of the Mercury retrograde. Again, like I said, Mercury retrogrades are going to be super intense this year. You can see that on past recordings. So don't even if you are used to not caring about a Mercury retrograde, if you start caring, nobody's going to fault you for it. It's intense this year, like super intense. So, last question. How can I deepen my connection to my purpose? So, a lot of us are sitting on the surface level of our purposes. What does it look like when we are in the service about it? And what being asked for is to be like, no, what are the root aspects? What are the deepest values, the deepest are the tallest pillars of who we are and why. I was watching Gaia. So if you haven't gotten your Gaia subscription, I would get on that. It's the 50% off thing still. So please like get on that. And you can find a link in my description. But yeah, a lady that I am not going to remember her name, but she was talking about how the will is the glue, like of our spirit, mind, and our heart, universal consciousness. So for me, that's the anchoring into the womb of our true creation and availability to energy. But we all have our ways of talking about things. And they're not conflicting. They're just different, right? So there's that piece. So if you find that what you want, what you will is changing, that's good. That's good. That's a sign that it's actually getting into alignment in the void. So keep trusting yourself. That is the whole point. That's what we start with, the Karen Curry Parker, right? Keep trusting yourself, keep sitting with it. You don't have to know everything and definitely don't need to know everything right now. And I will see you on the next. I gotta tell you, we're doing Living Your Myth. So this is about understanding the void within our own truth and identities and allowing ourselves to have a framework that allows these continual evolutions that we will continue to experience within the Aquarian age that keeps us from spinning out, essentially, right? So, yeah, it's going to feel like nothingness for a time, but if we can start recognizing the pattern, then we're less likely to lose our poop over it. Okay. So, I will see you there. Join us in the workshop on the 23rd by registering in the link in the description. I'll see you there.